The school gym smelled like polished wood and faint popcorn from the concession stand. Parents moved in clusters, chatting politely, holding coffee cups and smiling like they had everything under control. I tugged at the knot of my tie, wishing I'd had time to iron my shirt before rushing straight from the construction site. Dust still clung to my boots, and my hands smelled faintly of concrete. 8 years of raising Mia on my own had taught me how to juggle exhaustion with pride. But tonight, I felt every ounce of imbalance. Beside me, Mia bounced on her toes, her little hand tugging mine with excitement that erased all my weariness. "Dad, Miss Bennett said she really wants to meet you," she whispered, her eyes shining. "She said my science project was the best in class." Her enthusiasm made me smile, warmth flooding my chest. "Lead the way, kiddo," I said, and we weaved through the crowd of polished parents. Mia pointed across the gym toward a woman with her back turned. She wore a navy blazer, standing straight, listening intently to another parent. Something about her posture felt familiar, tugging at a memory buried deep inside me. Then I heard the laugh. Clear, warm, familiar. My heart stopped. The world seemed to tilt. Lauren Bennett, my first love, the girl I thought I'd lost forever. Time collapsed. In that moment, I wasn't in a crowded school gym. I was 18 again, under a night sky full of promises we didn't keep. Lauren turned and our eyes met. Her professional smile faltered for the briefest second, and I saw the shock mirrored in her expression. "Mr. Walker," she said gently, her voice carrying above the murmurs of parents, "it's wonderful to finally meet you. Mia is one of my brightest students." I shook her hand, feeling her warmth, familiar and achingly distant all at once. "She talks about your class all the time," I said, my voice quieter than I intended. The air between us was heavy, charged with something neither of us had expected. Mia, sensing the tension, tilted her head curiously. "You guys know each other?" Lauren's tone was careful, neutral. "We went to high school together." That was all, just 3 words, but my chest ached with all they implied. I had come tonight expecting a simple parent-teacher meeting, and instead, I'd stepped into a chapter of my past I thought was closed. Mia tugged me toward the display boards, oblivious to the storm swirling in my mind. I glanced back once, and Lauren was talking to another parent, her smile polished, gestures precise. But when her eyes flicked to mine, I saw it, the flicker of the girl I remembered, hidden beneath the professional exterior. I remembered those summer nights at 18, her hand in mine, promises whispered under stars. I remembered her laugh, her fire, and the silence that followed when she stopped answering my calls. And now, 20 years later, she was here again, part of Mia's world. That meant she was part of mine, too. Mia pointed proudly to her volcano project, and I crouched beside her, brushing a hand over her hair. "This is incredible, kiddo. You did all this on your own?" "She says science is about asking the right questions." I forced a smile, my mind elsewhere, caught in the flood of memory. But as I looked at Lauren, seeing her with Mia, hearing the pride in her voice, I realized something important. She wasn't just a teacher. She was someone who had returned to our lives, quietly, gently, like a second chance I didn't know I needed. And standing there, in the hum of the school gym, I felt it, the old ache, the old longing, and something new stirring in its place. Something fragile, uncertain, but alive. Something that whispered that maybe, just maybe, this reunion wasn't just a coincidence. The next morning, Portland had that crisp autumn chill that made the air feel sharp and alive. Mia bounded into the kitchen, her backpack bouncing on her shoulders, already chattering about her plans for the day. I sipped my coffee slowly, letting her excitement wash over me, even as my mind kept drifting back to last night. Lauren's eyes, her laugh, that impossible warmth I hadn't felt in years. "She said I could show my project to the principal today," Mia exclaimed, her voice full of pride. I ruffled her hair, smiling. "I'm glad she's excited. You worked hard for it." Later, after dropping Mia off at her art class, I drove across town to the small cafe Lauren had chosen. The sun spilled through the large front window, highlighting her dark hair falling softly over her shoulders. She looked like herself, yet not like herself. The same girl I'd loved at 18, but layered now with a calm, controlled confidence that I wasn't sure I was ready to face. "Sorry I'm late," I said, sliding into the chair across from her. "Mia's class is all the way across town." Lauren's smile was gentle. "Don't worry, I just got here myself." She cradled her mug, her fingers curled around it like it anchored her. For a moment, we sat in silence, the hum of the cafe around us fading into something distant. Then we both spoke at once, laughing awkwardly at the timing. I offered, "You first," and she took a deep breath. Her voice dropped, soft and quiet, carrying years of hidden regret. "I owe you an explanation." I listened as she told me about the past, about how fear and family pressure had pulled her away from me, about the businessman's son she had let herself follow, thinking it was the smarter choice, about the silence that had stretched between us for months, and how she had convinced herself I had moved on. Each word dug at the old ache inside me, but instead of sharp pain, it carried a quiet understanding. We'd both been young, both scared. "Life happens," I said, finally. "We were kids. I can't say it didn't hurt, but we were kids." My words felt like stepping stones across a river of memories. She nodded, relief softening her face, though the shadow of regret lingered. We talked about the years that followed, about my marriage, about Mia, and how we had managed as a team of two. Lauren listened, her eyes full of sympathy, but there was something else there too, admiration, perhaps, or maybe recognition of the life I had built. Then came the small, quiet moments that made my chest ache. Her hand brushing against mine when Mia wasn't looking, the way she laughed at the same jokes she had loved as a teenager, the care she showed Mia, gentle but intentional. I realized she had chosen to step into our lives not as a figure from the past, but as someone who truly wanted to be here. Still, there were pieces I couldn't ignore. The sleek car she drove, the understated but expensive accessories, the way museum staff had recognized her and treated her with respect I had never experienced. Something in me stirred. Curiosity, suspicion, disbelief. Why had she left a life that seemed so powerful to be a teacher at a public school? I tried to push it aside. Mia's happiness, Lauren's presence, the warmth that filled our kitchen when she stayed to help with dinner or projects. But the questions nagged at the edges of my mind and I couldn't ignore them forever. One night, after Mia was asleep, I opened my laptop and typed her name. The results hit me like a freight train. Lauren Bennett, CEO, visionary, billion-dollar company. She had built a fortune, yet here she was, sitting at my kitchen table, helping Mia with science projects, wearing a simple sweater and jeans. I felt a mix of awe, confusion, and betrayal. She wasn't just a teacher. She was someone else entirely, someone I didn't fully know. And yet, sitting across from her, watching her laugh with Mia, I felt the pull of something undeniable, something that survived 20 years, silence and distance. The next evening, I couldn't hold it in. I asked her to come over after Mia went to bed. When she arrived, concern etched across her face, I didn't waste words. "I know, Lauren, about Tech Future, about everything you didn't tell me." Her eyes softened and she exhaled slowly. "I was going to tell you. I just wanted to be me around you, not the CEO, just Lauren." "I don't know if I can trust that," I admitted, frustration and hurt pressing into my chest. "I've been working overtime just to get by, and here you are, slipping into our lives with everything you could ever want. It doesn't feel fair." She stepped closer, her voice trembling but steady. "Do you think I'm here out of pity? I'm here because I care, because I love Mia, and because I still love you." Her words hit me like the gym all over again, raw and piercing. My chest ached, but something in me softened. She wasn't boasting or flaunting her success. She was telling the truth, her truth. And I realized, maybe for the first time, that love didn't have to come with conditions. We stood in silence, the city quiet beneath our balcony. Her hand brushed against mine, tentative at first. Then she intertwined her fingers with mine. Warm, steady, real. "I'm falling in love with you again," I whispered, voice cracking. "Me too," she said softly. "But maybe that's how we know it's real." The night stretched around us, carrying the quiet promise of something new, something neither of us could fully name yet, but both of us could feel. Something that started not with perfection, but with courage, honesty, and the willingness to take a chance on each other again. The days that followed settled into a quiet rhythm, almost natural, like life was letting us find our footing again. Mornings were filled with Mia's laughter, school projects, and hurried breakfasts. Afternoons meant work for me, construction sites and heavy machinery, while Lauren lingered with Mia, helping with homework or reading science articles aloud. It was simple, ordinary, yet each moment carried a weight of something extraordinary. Lauren became a quiet presence in our home, slipping into the spaces I hadn't realized were lonely. She stayed for dinners, helped Mia with experiments, and sometimes just sat on the couch while I washed dishes, her eyes gentle but watchful. Mia adored her. Her little world had expanded in ways I hadn't expected, and every time I saw them together, a mix of pride and something else, a longing, a warmth swelled in my chest. But then the questions returned, gnawing quietly at the edges of my mind. Her car, sleek and expensive, the way people seemed to recognize her wherever we went, the private tours at museums, the subtle nods of respect she commanded from strangers. I tried to dismiss it, told myself it didn't matter. She was here, with Mia, with me. That was what counted. Still, curiosity won over caution one afternoon. We had gone to the museum for a casual visit, just the three of us, but as soon as we walked through the entrance, staff greeted Lauren warmly, guiding us past velvet ropes into halls closed to the public. A board member shook her hand, praising her expertise. I felt a pang in my chest. "How did you manage this?" I asked quietly, as Mia marveled at a meteorite exhibit. Lauren shrugged, keeping her eyes on Mia. "I used to consult for their education program. They owed me a favor." Her casual tone didn't match the truth I was beginning to piece together. I didn't press it then, not in front of Mia, but inside, my mind raced. Something about her life, the parts she didn't show, was immense, beyond anything I had imagined. That night, as Mia slept, I couldn't let it go. I typed her name into my laptop, and the truth hit me in a way I wasn't prepared for. Lauren Bennett, Tech Future Innovations, billion-dollar CEO. Headlines of her meteoric rise, the companies she steered, her shocking decision to step back from the spotlight. Net worth estimates in the tens of millions. My head spun. I stared at the screen, hands trembling. The woman who had pored over Mia's science projects, laughed with her in our kitchen, and stayed late just to help, she was someone else entirely. And yet, she had chosen to be here, quietly, in our small, cluttered apartment. Her presence had weight, but it wasn't about money or status. She had stepped into our lives on her own terms. The next evening, I told her we needed to talk after Mia went to bed. When she arrived, I could see the worry flicker across her face. "Is everything okay?" she asked, voice soft. I gestured toward the couch, pacing a few steps before finally letting the words come. "I know, Lauren, about Tech Future, about everything. You didn't tell me." She exhaled, settling her purse carefully. "I was going to tell you. I just wanted to be me with you, not the CEO, just Lauren." "Do you trust me enough to be honest?" I asked, frustration and disbelief threading through my voice. "Because I've been fighting just to keep Mia fed and our apartment lights on, and here you are, slipping into our lives with everything you could ever want. It doesn't feel fair." Her eyes softened, but she didn't back down. "Do you think I'm here because of pity? I'm here because I care, because I love Mia, and because I still love you." Her words struck me like lightning. Warmth, awe, disbelief, all tangled together. She wasn't showing off, wasn't trying to impress. She was telling me the truth, the one that mattered. Slowly, I stepped closer. We were quiet for a moment, the weight of everything unsaid hanging between us. Then she reached for my hand, and I let her. The touch was steady, grounding, her fingers intertwined with mine, warm and real. "I should have told you sooner," she whispered. "I was afraid of losing this, afraid of losing you." "I'm falling in love with you again," I admitted, my voice breaking. "Me too," she said softly. but maybe that's how we know it's real. In that small, quiet space, everything seemed to slow. The city outside blurred into a haze of lights. We stood together, hand in hand, letting the possibility of a second chance fill the air. The ache of the past 20 years didn't disappear, but it softened, replaced with something fragile and hopeful, something worth holding on to. And for the first time in years, I felt it. The truth that love didn't have to be about timing, about perfect circumstances or matching lives. It was about courage, about honesty, about taking a chance even when the heart trembled. And standing there with Lauren, I realized we were ready to try, to walk together, one step at a time, into whatever came next. The days after our conversation felt different, like the world had shifted slightly, but in a way that made everything clearer. Lauren was still part of our lives, gently, carefully, without forcing anything. Mia's laughter filled our small apartment, her science projects taking over the kitchen table, and Lauren was always there, patient, warm, and kind. Watching them together, I realized that family could be made, not just born. Yet, the tension of her hidden life and mine still lingered. I had learned who she truly was, the former CEO, the woman with unimaginable wealth, and part of me felt unworthy. But another part of me, the part that had struggled and built everything for Mia with my own hands, recognized something equally rare, the courage it took to choose love over comfort, to step out of a world of luxury and status just to be present in someone else's life. One afternoon, Mia tumbled during recess, twisting her wrist badly. My heart dropped when the school called. I rushed to the nurse's office, finding her sitting quietly on the cot, ice pack pressed to her arm. Beside her, Lauren knelt, speaking softly and keeping her calm. Relief washed over me, gratitude so sharp it almost hurt. Lauren insisted on calling a specialist friend, someone who could see Mia immediately. My pride fought back, but seeing Mia's pale face and her tiny hand clutching mine, I let her guide us. Hours later, after the x-ray confirmed only a minor fracture and Mia had chosen her purple cast, I realized the depth of Lauren's care. She wasn't just helping, she was part of us now, and the weight of that love was undeniable. Later that evening, as Mia drifted off to sleep, I stepped out onto the balcony, the cool Portland air brushing my face. Lauren joined me, standing quietly beside me. "She's incredible," she whispered. "So brave." "I get that from necessity. She's had to be brave her whole life." Her hand found mine, fingers intertwining. "You've done more than that. You've given her love, safety, a home. That matters more than money, more than anything else." I swallowed hard. I don't know how to let someone in without feeling like I'm failing. "Ethan," she said softly, "love isn't about carrying it alone. It's about walking side by side, each bringing what we can. No one's keeping score." Her words settled over me like sunlight breaking through clouds. I turned to her, finally allowing the weight of my heart to speak. "I'm falling in love with you again, and it terrifies me." Her forehead pressed to mine. "It scares me too, but maybe that's how we know it's real." From that night on, we built something steady and quiet. Coffee dates turned into walks through Portland streets. Dinners at home became small rituals, and Lauren's presence in our lives felt natural, necessary. Mia became the bridge between us, her joy a constant reminder of why love was worth the risk. Months later, I rose from my chair at the dining table, the small velvet box hidden in my pocket, and walked to Lauren. The house was filled with laughter. Mia playing with toys, Lauren smiling at her, my heart swelling with all the love I felt for them both. I knelt before her, hand trembling, voice steady with truth. "When we were 18, I thought I knew love, but I was wrong. What I feel for you now, after all we've lived, is real. Will you marry me?" Her eyes glistened as she nodded, whispering a tearful yes. Mia squealed, throwing her arms around both of us, and in that moment, the little apartment felt like the entire world. Margaret Bennett, Lauren's grandmother, smiled knowingly from her chair, her pride clear. The wedding came months later in our backyard. Ethan had built a wooden arch himself, and Lauren decorated it with wildflowers Mia picked. Friends and family gathered, and Mia walked down the aisle first, grinning back at me with the confidence only a child who knew love could bring. Lauren followed, her eyes locked on mine. The vows were simple, honest, and trembling with emotion. We promised to choose each other every day, not for perfection, but for love, patience, and shared life. Life afterwards wasn't a fairy tale. It was better, real. Our home filled with laughter, school projects, and eventually the cries of our baby boy, James. Every evening, we shared dinners, homework sessions, and quiet nights on the porch, the stars above reminding me of the promises once whispered under younger skies. Through the love of Lauren, the joy of Mia, and the small, ordinary moments of everyday life, I realized the most extraordinary gifts come from courage, forgiveness, and second chances. I had found love again, not perfect or easy, but enduring. And in that love, I found a home. The past 20 years, with all its pain and loss, had led me here, to a family made whole, not from wealth or status, but from the choice to open a door we thought closed forever. Love, patience, and courage had brought us back together, and for the first time in a long time, I knew that we were exactly where we were supposed to be.